Okay, previously we found top dead center. Now we're going to start valve timing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start here on the number 1 cylinder. And I'm going to bring, you're going to need to be over here so you can see what I'm actually doing here. I'm going to bring this around to base circle so I can get in my adjustable lash adjuster. And it doesn't really matter where we start, whether we start with an intake cam or exhaust cam, because everything's all been torqued to this point, so now we're just second checking everything. So I'm going to put the adjustable lash adjuster in there. I'm going to bring this around, slide it under there, and bring it up on there. I'm going to come over here, we're going to slip through, and we're going to adjust that up to 0 lash. Get that nice and snug in there. Once that's around the 0 lash, go ahead and set up the dial indicator. Make sure that you're not touching the cam tower, and you want to get as close to parallel as you can get with the valve. And you want to have just enough play in there. So then you come around here, and once you're on there, you're essentially on base circle. Come right here and look at the meter on the indicator. So you're essentially on base circle at this point. Can you see those numbers?
Yes.
Okay, so you're on base circle. Now I'm just going to turn right here, and if you wanted to check base circle run out, this is how you would check it. You would just, you could check it right here at the valve, or you could check it on the cam itself, and you could check, just check for run out while you're on base circle. So what we're doing now is we can see that this is getting ready to come around on its opening ramp. So what I'm going to do is when this gets within, when this shows 050, that's going to be 50 thousandths open, and I'm going to mark that as my intake valve opening point. Okay, it's starting to come up now. So right there is my 50 thousandths of open. And if I check over here on my degree wheel, if you look down here, I'm opening at 3 degrees before top dead center. So I'll come over here, and I'm on my passenger side. Intake valve open is going to be 3 degrees before top dead center. Okay, now the next thing we're going to find at this point is our max lift point. So we're going to continue looking here for max lift, and we're going to just keep rotating this around until we get our maximum number. So it's coming around. So that one right there showed a max lift at about, I'm stuck here on the rocker. So
I see the numbers good before.
Yeah, well, it quit going down because it was hung up on the rocker there. So we're going to continue on. Those numbers are a little bit different. So what I'll do is I'll rotate back around now and make sure I still got 0 on base circle. Okay, see, I'm a little bit off on base circle because I had to move the indicator because it's hung on the rocker arm. So we're on base circle.
Yeah, and I can see numbers now.
Okay. So we'll continue to rotate around. And once we get on Okay, that's still 3 degrees before top dead center. I'm going to continue to rotate on around until we get to the max lift point. So 459.5 was our max lift point. I'll write that down on the paper here. 459.5. And to make it easy, I'm just going to subtract basically 50 or 050 from the 459. So it's going to come out to be 409.5. Is going to be our 50 thousandths point, and that's where we're going to check for our intake center line, which is 50 thousandths on each side of the maximum lift point. So right now we can continue around to this side and we can get our first number, and our first number is going to come up at 409, and when the little 5 is there. Okay, that's close enough. So the little 5 come and go, but that's all right. It's not going to make a difference. So right now, we're showing 409 up there, which is what we're looking for. And we're going to come down here now and look at the degree wheel. The degree wheel is going to show 141. So we're going to write down 141 right here. 141. And now we're going to continue through until we get to the 50 thousandths of being closed, or our intake valve is going to close. So we're going to rotate this on through. And once we get to 50, we can make another mark on our thing over there. That's probably close. That's close enough. So right there, our intake valve is closed at 144.5. No, actually, that's not going to be right for that. This is going to be for valve timing. We're going to use these black graduations. So we're going to be at 35.5 is going to be where our intake valve closes. 35.5 degrees. 35.5. And that's going to be after bottom dead center. After bottom dead center. You can look at the previous numbers when I did this on the pasture side. I did this, I don't know, a week ago. My intake valve opened at 3 degrees, still 3 degrees, and it closed at 35.5 degrees after bottom dead center, and that's what it's doing today too. So far we've managed to torque everything down and not get any differences in numbers. Our number last week was just a little bit different on the center line, but we're going to continue on around now. We're going to go all the way through 0 and back to the 409.5 on the other side, which is going to be how we're going to come up with our center line for this particular cam. You can see the base circles, or the ramp is coming around now, so we're going to be able to get our other number here. Okay, it's starting to come up. And continue to rotate on around until we get to 409. 409.5 if possible, but this is as close as you can get to that. I'd probably call that good right there, 409.5. And now we'll look down here on the degree wheel. If we look at the degree wheel, that's going to be at 75, 76. We can probably call that 76. So then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to write down 76. So 141 was 50 thousandths down on one side. 76 was 50 thousandths down on the other side. So we'll take those two numbers. 141 plus 76 equals 217. So I'm going to write that down. 217. And that's going to be your duration right there. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. That gives me 108.5. So if I divide that by 2, it's going to equal 108.5. My intake center line for the passenger side cam come in at 108.5. And the last time I checked it, it was 108.125. So that could just be a little bit of differences in the checking. So right there is where that cam come in at, and we're done with that cam now. So now we're going to set up to do the exhaust cam. So to set up to do the exhaust cam, we're going to rotate this around to base circle so I can get the lash adjuster out. So it's on base circle there. I'll take this, put this back in there. Some magnet to get that out. Use a magnet to get that out. Bring it around here. We're going to set that in there on the exhaust side. Slip this over there. See if we can get that to slide on. Okay. That's almost on base circle, but I'll rotate that around a little bit more. Make sure it's completely on base circle. Okay, it's on base circle. Now what I'll do is I'll tighten this up, take it up to 0 lash. That's good and snug right there. And now I'm going to reposition this. Here, set that down on there. Try to get those close to parallel. Make sure you got play. Turn it on. 0 it. We're on base circle, so any movement here should stay 0. It's going to stay 0. I'm going to rotate this around until I get 50 thousandths of lift on the exhaust valve, and that's going to be my exhaust valve opening point. Okay, it's coming around. There's my 50 thousandths of open right there. I'm going to come down here to the degree wheel. Look at the degree wheel. The degree wheel is going to tell me that I am, let's see here, 44 degrees before bottom dead center. Over here, look at my previous numbers. I was at 43.5, so pretty close. 44 before bottom dead center. And the way you know that is if you're using valve timing events, you just read the wheel and you know you're rotating clockwise. So if it happens here and your bottom dead center is here, it's going to be before bottom dead center. So Now we're going to continue on around, and we're going to look for our max lift point. So max lift up here. Watch that indicator. Okay, so 462 was our max lift on that one. I'm gonna come over here to the paper. I'm gonna write 462, and then 462 minus 50 is 412. So 412 is gonna be our 50 thousandths point. So now we're gonna rotate around until we see 412. So there's 412. Now we're going to look at the wheel. The wheel says 80. So we're now going to write down an 80 right here. Now we're going to continue to rotate the same direction, all the way clockwise. And we're going to get our 50 thousandths of being closed, so we can get our effectively our exhaust valve close point. There's 50 thousandths closed, and we're going to come over here and we're going to look at this. It's going to be 1, 2, 3.5 degrees before top dead center that it closes. All right, 3.5 before top dead center. And previously, it was 3.5 before top dead center. So now we can rotate around to our 412 point on the other side. So we're going to go all the way through 0, all the way around base circle. There could be some small differences there. It's just with the way the dial indicator sits on the retainer. We're going to rotate this around to 409 or 412, right?
Mm-hmm.
412. So 412. And then we're going to have a look, and it's going to say 145, and I could probably go a quarter on that. So 145.25. It's going to be 145.25. So we're going to add those. 145.25 plus 80 equals 225. 225.25. And we're going to divide that by 2. And that's going to come up with 112.625. So we're going to divide that by 2 equals 112.625. That is the exhaust center line, 112.625. And previously it was 112.375. So pretty close numbers to what it was previously. Okay, so that's it for checking your center line for the passenger side cam. Now we're going to set up and do the driver side cam. To do that, we're going to come over here. We're going to remove. We're currently not on base circle. I'm going to get on base circle. Remove this. adjuster. Okay. I'll rotate the motor. All right. And now we're going to check the number 6 cylinder on this side. So what we'll do is we'll just start with the intake again. That right there is pretty much on base circle. So what we'll do, go ahead and slide the latch adjuster in. Rocker on. Go to 0 lash. All right. Put the dial indicator up. No play. Got play. And we're on base circle pretty much, so we can 0 there. And then we can continue to rotate, just make sure we zeroed in the right spot. We're not getting nothing through plenty of degrees of rotation, so we're still 0. Now we're going to rotate this until we get to the 50 point again. So as that starts to come up, there's our 50 point on the intake cam, and it appears that opened right at top dead center. So if I look at my driver's side, intake valve opening, top dead center, and that's what it was a few days ago, top dead center. So now we're going to continue to rotate to max lift. Looks like 460 is going to be it. So I'll write that number down over here, 460. And 50 thousandths down from that is going to be 450. Or no, not 450. 410. That's going to be 4. That's going to be 410. So now I'm going to rotate through to 410. And just for reference, you can show them the wheel here and show them how I'm moving this. I'm just barely moving it, just giving it little taps. There's 410. So at 410, now we're going to look at the degree wheel, and the degree wheel is going to say 141. It looks like I'm getting straight on it. Yeah, 141. So I'll write that down over here. 141. And I'm going to rotate back around until I get to my closing point, which is going to be 50 thousandths of being closed. Okay, there's 50 thousandths of being closed. I'm going to look at the degree wheel. The degree wheel, I'm going to use the black numbers for this. I'm going to be 35, 6, 7 and a half. 37 and a half. So I'm going to come over here, intake valve closed, 37.5. Look at my previous numbers. Intake valve closed was 37. So pretty close. Now I'm going to continue on around through base circle. Once I get through base circle, I'm going to look for my 410. I don't know why that's. It's going to be close enough. Okay, that's probably close enough. If you weren't satisfied with that 1/1000th difference, you could always rotate it around one more time. We're at 75. Looks like at about 75 3/4. Let me see what my previous numbers were. My previous numbers were 75.5. So, however you want to look at it. 75.75, but I rotated a little bit further, so it probably was really only 75.5. We'll go 141 plus 75.75. That's going to be 216.75, which is almost exactly what the other one, the intake cam, was on the other side at 217. So that's going to be 216.75. Divide that by 2. It's going to be your center line divided by 2. That's 108.375, 108.375. So right now, if you look at these numbers here, the 108.375 and the 108.5, right now there's only 0.125 difference in degrees from the passenger side of the motor to the driver's side of the motor. Close, pretty close to perfect. So now we'll continue on with the driver's side exhaust cam. First thing we got to do is rotate this on around the base circle. Once we get this around the base circle, we can then remove the lash adjuster. Swap it over to here. And I'll rotate that around, get that where I can get the lash adjuster or the rocker in. Put the rocker in there. Tighten it up. Back it back out to get zero lash. Pretty good. Nice and tight. Reposition the indicator. As close to parallel and as close to straight up and down as you can get it. Make sure you got enough play there. Hopefully that won't be too much. I need to go down a little more. Okay. Now we'll come over here. We're on base circle, should be. We'll rotate. Got 0. Come on around. The ramp is starting to come down right there. As this starts to come down, we should start to get some numbers here. And we're going to look for 50,000ths again. Okay, there's our 50,000ths. Now we're going to look at the degree wheel. The degree wheel is, this is going to be exactly 40 degrees before bottom dead center. So we look at our previous numbers. Our previous numbers was 41. So we're going to do 40 before bottom dead center. That's when the intake exhaust valve opens. Now we're going to continue to rotate around the max lift. So it looks like it's probably going to be 464. 464 is our max lift. Write that down, 464. That's going to make our 50 thousandths point at 414. So we'll rotate around now to 414. 414 is coming around. That's 414. So at that point right there, I'm going to need to get in front of this so I can see it. It appears that we are at 80 or 79 and a half, it appears. So we're going to write 79.5 here. Our previous numbers were 80, so pretty close. So now we're going to continue to rotate around until we get to 414. Or no, we're already at 414. So our order number down for that. So now we're going to continue to rotate around until we get to 50 thousandths of being closed, or effectively closed. Close enough. So right there, it looks like we're going to be at about 2.5 degrees before top dead center. So 2.5 before top dead center. Our previous numbers were 2 degrees before top dead center. Pretty close. Now we're going to rotate all the way through base circle and back to 414 on the other side. .414, and it says 140, 1, 2, 3, 143. 143, so 79.5 plus 143 is 222.5. Divide that by 2 is 111.25. Which previously is 111.5, so I come within 1/4 of a degree both times I've done this, and the difference between the passenger side exhaust cam center line of 112.625 or minus the driver side exhaust cam is 1.37 degrees. Close enough.